Good morning. It's February 8th. Another mild day, right around freezing. -1, I think, today. Supposed to be some snow showers coming, but I don't see much sign of it at the moment. And I'm heading downtown again. I know it's becoming kind of stuck in a rut here, but I have a meeting at 11 at Brood Awakening. Just left myself enough time to walk there. Wasn't my original plan for this morning, but that's the way it worked out. I was planning to be down there much earlier. And then I have to go pick up some pills at the drugstore, and then I'll be walking home later, so it's going to be one of those two-parters. But I just posted yesterday's walk. I mean, the live part was there, but I only just posted the recorded version. I always do that because the live can have buffering in it and stuff like that, so it's probably largely redundant, and I don't think other live streamers tend to do that, but it's kind of the habit I've gotten into. Meeting with somebody who's looking for some help publishing a book, so that's what I do. So don't trip over the extension cord with anyone else but me. Good morning. Whoever just said good morning. Can I read it? Barely. Nicole, good morning. My screen's kind of dim. I thought it was turned up full, but it seems to have dimmed itself for some reason. Let me see, can I make it any brighter? No, it is turned up full. Must be my eyes. Reacting to the brighter light. Not that the sun is currently quite out. It's almost out. There's that new house. It continues to take shape over here. Not that I think anything's been done on it since the last time I walked by, but anyway. I know it's a 20-minute walk down to the Hotel Saskatchewan, and Brood Awakening is another block, so I should get there with about 5 minutes to spare before my meeting. I don't know what the guy looks like, so we have to find each other. But maybe he knows what I look like. It's not like my picture isn't everywhere if you go looking for it. No heating station to plug the cars. No, if you're going to plug in your car out front, you pretty much have to run the extension cord, which you're not supposed to do across the sidewalk. Generally, these houses have garages or carports at the back, and that's where most people would plug in their car if necessary. This weather, it's really not necessary. I'm not sure why that one's plugged in. Probably, it may have been plugged in since the cold weather, and that was a few days ago. Who knows? It was plugged in yesterday when I walked along here too, that truck. Again, as usual, we will cross Albert Street wherever the lights. We're going to kitty corner across here since nobody's coming. All right. This bit of sidewalk was terrible yesterday. But they all are along here. Quite icy. So I'll be very careful along here. There's nothing worse than ice with a thin skein of water over top of it. And that's what you get in this weather. I thought I might walk up there, but it's not any clearer. I'm lucky I'll hit the light up here perfect. I can cross right here. Oh, I've got so many projects on the go. It's not even funny. Between Endless Skybooks, Shadowpaw Press, some freelance work I'm doing, this musical I'm writing, which I've got to work on today. Oh, perfect timing. Sidewalk over here is usually fairly wet, nicely melted because of the way the sun hits it later in the day. Oh, but not entirely. That's from splashing. This ice here is from people splashing through that puddle right there, it looks like. In the bus, because that's a bus stop. Probably mostly the bus. And that lane. There's the old Saskatchewan Government Telephones building, now part of the Royal Saskatchewan Museum. Not a display space, but a laboratory space. Storage. It's a nice building. 1924, so it was built 2 years before our house was. And before the school my daughter went to. Must have been a very different neighborhood at the time. Just starting to get some of the buildings. Of course, most of these buildings aren't that old. Although it's hard to tell when it's just a box with no, like this one, who knows? They don't have any, this is brick. It could be quite old, but probably not that old with this angled window, but I'll bet you it's several decades old. Just in time here to get across here. Storytellers Festival, February 17th to 19th. Interesting. I take off my hat, I'm so warm. At least for the moment. The great thing about February is it's the month that the Public Lending Rights Commission checks go out. Public Lending Rights Commission Canada surveys libraries, and if you're registered with it and they find your titles in a library, you get paid a certain amount per title. I have a lot of books in libraries, so I get the maximum every year, which is something in the neighborhood of not quite $4,000 if I remember right. So it's like Christmas in January or in February. Well, those are no vehicles. That'll be later in the month. So looking forward to that. If you're a Canadian author and you're not registered with PLR, you should totally register with PLR. I have books that have made way more money through PLR than they did from the publisher that published them. Really bad publisher, that particular publisher. Those books will be coming out in new editions from Shadowpaw Press whenever I get around to it, you know, my copious time. Go this way. Don't take this path very often. Wouldn't say never. Get away from that noisy Albert Street. No puddles to avoid, though. I have to be very cognizant of my footing. Like here, where it looks really clear, can sometimes be the slipperiest because it'll have a really thin layer of ice that you can't quite see. I think it's warm enough right now. I'm not feeling that. But if it dropped another couple of degrees, this would probably be one of the slipperiest sections. By the way, if you walked with me last night, and I was at Fireside Bistro and said that's where I was going to eat. I didn't eat there. I went in, they seated me, gave me a glass of water, and it was pushing 15 minutes and nobody had come to even take my drink order. So I got up and left, went to a different restaurant. I don't even know if they noticed I'd been there, except for the greeter who seated me. I'm probably short-handed, but still, that's not really acceptable. So Fireside Bistro, I'm calling you out. If that happens again, next time I try to go there. And I do like it. I like their food. It's pretty expensive for what it is. But try this sidewalk. Same thing. Thin layers of ice to watch out for. You know how it is. There's a time frame when you're willing to be generous, but as that time ticks by and there's no indication anybody's coming, and there was just nobody in sight anywhere. When I walked out, there was somebody at the bar staring at a computer, and no other waitresses or waiters in sight. Quite a few people there. So I suspect their main problem was being short-handed, but I got fed up and left. Then I went to another restaurant that I didn't really like what I got very much, so maybe I cut off my own nose to spite my face, as the saying goes. This one's nicely melty and cleared in front of what used to be, still is I think the Y daycare may still be in there. I'm not entirely sure. It's turning into a healthcare center of some sort. Used to be the Y. Used to be where I went every couple of days to work out. And I got out of that because the pandemic killed it. And I lost the habit. Took up walking instead. But keep thinking I should do something with the weights that I have at home. I know that I was so strong there for a while, you know, from lifting for a couple of years regularly, and then I let it go, and now I'm right back flimsy again, comparatively. I'm a big guy. It's not like I'm not strong. Not as strong as I should be or could be. Something else to add to my list of things to do. I do have some dumbbells. I could be doing at least curls and that sort of thing at home. Whenever I get a minute, it could actually add up to quite a bit. Over the course of the day, if I did it whenever I had a few minutes, did another set of reps, as we say in the lifting biz. I had a personal trainer. It was expensive, but I had one. And there's other gyms, and I could set that up again, but if I did, I'd probably have to stop doing this because I don't have time to walk for an hour and work out for an hour. Overall health, the walking is probably more important than the lifting. Coming up beside the courthouse here on our left, a little slippery along here too. That gray forbidding building is the tax people, Canada Revenue. You know, it says right there, courthouse. This is the provincial courthouse. There's also a municipal courthouse. There's City Hall. light, so I will keep going this way. I need to change sides at some point, so I might as well do it here. There you go, it'll just be a minute. 6 seconds. 5, 4, 3. We're headed down that way. So you gotta look right up Victoria Avenue here. All the sidewalks are kind of scary. And it's not like we're into spring yet. It's a taste of spring, but colder weather coming later in the month, and there'll probably be more snow, so. But then it's March, and March at least officially marks the start of spring. There's the Balfour. As I always say, my favorite appearance, anyway, of a apartment building. Oof. First Baptist over there. The tornado in 1912 came right down Lawrence Street here, took the top off of that, wrecked Knox Metropolitan over here. Frost Festival is on. I haven't gone to anything, and it doesn't look like I will, but it is on. This is what this fencing is about. What time is it? Yeah, I'm good. 10 minutes from Rude Awakening, which is a block and a half from here. This sidewalk's slippery. Again, it's nicely cleared, but it slopes down from the snow in the park, so the water runs across it and then freezes. So it's very slippery. Not quite a sheet of ice, but a sheet of almost ice. Certainly not bare pavement. Hotel Saskatchewan, I'll be doing lunch and working there again, as I often do if I have to come downtown. After I've had my meeting at Rude Awakening. Assuming I don't fall on this sidewalk and end up in the hospital. Not lifting my feet. I don't know if you can hear me shuffling or not. That's because of the ice. I'm not usually on this side of the street, so there's the Hotel Saskatchewan. I'm over here. Right behind those windows is the lounge. I'll have lunch and work. And then the curvy building is SaskPower, Saskatchewan Power Corporation. Crown Corporation, government controlled. The building was designed by Joe Pettick, who is a noted local architect. And it's quite striking, that one. It was inspired by Brazilian modernism. And they've currently given it about the third facelift, I think, since I've been in Regina. I heard a story once that it was supposed to be twice that tall. But the socialist government at the time thought that was ostentatious. As a result, they have one that's not actually big enough. That's the story I heard from what I would consider a reliable source. And of course, socialists are like that. So I'm not a socialist and never will be. Among many reasons, that's one reason. Okay, Rude Awakening is right up here. So we will stop here. And thanks for watching with me for part 1. I'll be back much later on for part 2 as I head home again. Bye for now. Good afternoon. I'm back. It's still February 8th. Still mild. Cloudy now. Just finished working in the Hotel Saskatchewan, having lunch. Had a meeting with somebody. Ended up meeting them there instead of at Rude Awakening, which was the original plan. Might be doing a book for somebody. It's funny, just as I was leaving, it was very quiet, and all of a sudden there's this like eruption of people coming out of some sort of meeting upstairs. I don't know what that was all about. There were a lot of them. So sometimes I will start inside the hotel and show it off a little bit, but it seemed awkward with all those people there, so I didn't. I think it'll be less icy now. It's melted some more. I also got 2 more scenes written in the musical I'm writing, which is a Second World War story. Songs were all written. I'm writing a script based on the story that was developed by the guy that wrote the songs. Kind of about his uncle, except his uncle, I think it was his uncle, died in the Second World War. He was in a Lancaster bomber. And this story it's kind of his uncle, but his uncle survives. And of course there's a girl. Oh, look at the old-fashioned barber pole. God, like that. I don't remember that being there before. Oh, that's new. Sure, I would have noticed. Not sure if people realize that the barber poles originally represented blood and bandages, but people don't think of it that way now. Basendowski. Cooperators. All that signage looks new too. It's very clean and blue, and the windows are all washed. So I wonder if somebody's just moved in there. I don't remember that being there, so it's possible. This will just be a short walk home. Nothing special. I still have lots of work to do, so I'm just killing 2 birds with 1 stone here. Walking and talking and getting back to work. It should be less slippery in places. In other places, it may be worse because there's more moisture on what's already kind of icy. We'll go this way. Oh, look at that puddle, though. That's annoying. We'll take our chances here now to avoid the puddles. When I get home, I'll switch back to editing mode and carry on editing the next Shadow Paw Press reprise. Well, not the next one. The next one after the next one. The next Shadow Paw Press reprise book will be The Ghosts of Spiritwood by Martine Noël-Ma, first English edition of a book originally published in French. The one after that is a historical novel called Small Reckonings by Karen Melberg-Schwier. And I've been editing that now for a bit, about halfway through. It's a grim little story, I must say. But it won some good attention when it first came out. And I'm looking forward to bringing out my edition of it. And I should have that ready to go. If I don't make it this month, it'll be early in March, I think. After that, I've got the Empire of Kaz series by Leslie Godala. That's a trilogy. After that, I've got Arthur Slade's 3 little young adult or middle grade books in his Canadian Chills series. And then I also got 2 new novels, which I actually think I'll have to do the editing in there before I get to some of the reprints. Because for new novels, you need much more leadway to get announcements and reviews and stuff. So March, let's see, March. Yeah, I'm already at the point where I need to get those edited. So I think once I get Small Reckonings out of the way, those will be my next editing job. One is called The Good Soldier by Nir Yaniv, and the other is The Headmasters by Mark Morton. One is an adult, well, Catch 22 meets Starship Troopers in outer space. It is The Good Soldier, humorous science fiction. Satirical, it's actually a better word than humorous. And Mark Morton's The Headmasters is young adult science fiction. And I've also got some entirely unrelated work I'm doing, more layout work for someone's annual report. I've got 2 novels through Endless Sky Books that have to be edited. Well, actually, just one at the moment, waiting on the contract for the other one. But I think they're going to sign it. And yeah, so I got no shortage of stuff to do. Just on writing. It's a little worrisome every time I list things off like that. But I will get it done. This might take a little more time than I would like. Oh well, that's my job. That's what I do. Write, edit, publish. Occasionally act. And actually tonight I have rehearsals. My first rehearsal I missed last week for Regina Lyric Musical Theater's Lyric Singers upcoming concert, which features 70s music. So I have no idea what we're singing since I don't have my music yet. I'll have a solo of some sort. I don't know what that will be either, so interested to see when I get there tonight. This is actually a restaurant here. Very homey, I guess you would say. But it's a Chinese restaurant. Good food. The only time I've eaten there, I think, was with a fellow named Jim Rolls, who's a playwright and performer. He does fringe shows, historical plays, science-based, generally, or scientist-based. These are the ones that I'm familiar with. Very good. It was interesting to talk to him. No fixed address, I think. If I remember right, he just travels and does his show. JEMROLLS, if you want to look him up. I think it was Robert J. Sawyer that pointed me at his stuff to begin with. He knows Rob, and I know Rob. Colorful. The older apartment buildings here. Not really old, but older than some. Probably 50s, I would think. Pretty uninspired facade, if you ask me. Called Prairie Place. I suspect it was, or is, seniors subsidized housing type of place. There's a jogger. This is basically an office building I've been in a few times. Golden Apple Theatre board used to meet in here because somebody on the board had access to a boardroom up on the top floor, I think. Was it this one? Actually, was it this one? Oh, no, it wasn't here. This is where I went and got my ears tested. That's what this one was. My hearing tested. There's a different one that's the one I was thinking of. Not that it matters to you, but I don't want to mislead anybody. Thank you for trapping me. At least he kept moving. Didn't quite splash me. We'll see what the crossing situation is up here when I get to the intersection. Not a very pretty day at the moment. Old snow, melting, slicey, gray, but warm. So from our point of view, it's a nice enough day. Shouldn't have to wait too long after that. Five, four, three, two, one. It is my great pleasure to cross with the light. Much safer. That's a tough one to jaywalk. Yeah, that one is usually too busy to jaywalk. This is exactly the same path I took last night. It was more interesting then because it was, well, I guess I didn't live stream that part of the walk. That's right, I didn't live stream my short walk home. I just live streamed my walk along the creek and then down 13th. I'm not sure what I'm doing for supper tonight. I'll have to find something in the house. Chili, maybe. Probably what it'll be. Before I go off to rehearsal I think it's at 7:30. Should check that. The other group I sing with rehearses at 7 on Sundays. Toscana Voices. But our concert will be over before this one. So at some point I won't have 2 rehearsals a week, but for the next couple of months I will have 2 rehearsals a week. I didn't put on my hat. My ears are slightly nippy, but nothing significant. Cooper Place, that's what this is called. I didn't really know that. I don't know who Cooper was, probably some politician of note. A lot of them I know, but that name doesn't actually ring any bells. Cooper. There's always smokers out here on the deck from this building. This is still pretty nasty along here, footing wise. Hasn't melted off completely yet. I think we'll get our warmest day might be tomorrow, if I remember the forecast. Well above freezing. And pretty nice then for a couple more days. Then it will cool off to well below freezing, but not bitterly cold. Former Unitarian, well, it's Unitarian now. Used to be a Christian Scientist church. And here we are back on Angus Crescent. Approaching home. Sidewalk's not significantly better here. Like this house with the turret. It did not originally have a turret. That's a fairly recent, as in I can remember them building it, addition. Still probably 20 years ago now. I always liked turrets because they remind me of castles. My big brother lived in a house in Weyburn that had a turret, corner turret like that, briefly. I remember visiting it once, I think. Rental apartment. I don't know if the building is still there or not. I really should get down to Weyburn this summer and walk around my old hometown. That would be cool. It's changed. I don't think I've been there now for 2013. Really? 10 years? No, 2016. Still, 6 years. Maybe the last time I was there, that was my 40th high school reunion. I was doing Lurch in the Addams Family at the time, so I didn't stay for much of the events. I went down and made an appearance for a couple of hours and came back. But in 3 years, 3.5 from now, it'll be my 50th high school reunion, which is nuts because I remember the high school reunions from 50 years when I was in high school and how old those people were. And now when I see the people I went to high school with, it's still like, well, they're still the people I went to high school with. We're all the same, just older. Well, with any luck, I'll make my 70th in another 23 years. Ugh. That's just dirt. This must have been where they were. All our water was off yesterday because they were replacing a sewer line. That must have been where it was. Having school down there. I guess I'll switch over to the other side. Ugh. Very uncertain footing for the entire walk, even because it's bumpy and slicey and occasionally slippery. Once again, I have avoided falling. So far, I have not fallen this winter. Came close once or twice, but I've stayed upright. All right, we'll stop here. So, thanks. Just kind of a short walk-in total today, only about 40 minutes, but that's the kind of day it is. I expect I'll do something tomorrow. I'm not sure what yet. Hopefully I'll be back. Thanks for walking with me or watching the recording. Remember to subscribe.